Hey, how's everybody out there today? Well, the consent decree. Federal judge just allowed the consent decree to move forward, and I guess that's going to be a good thing for the community. But I would like to just say first of all, um, as a disclaimer, right? I'm speaking on behalf of this as a citizen, not as a professional. I'm not representing any particular agencies or anything like that. I'm just speaking as a citizen as far as my own point of view regarding the subject matter. And one of the things that I would like to say is that you can spend millions upon millions of dollars, right? As far as police equipment, police cameras, and other technology, as long as police aren't engaging in the community, right? All of that is going to be just a waste of money. We need to get back to real community policing. We need to get back to engaging the community. We have not done a good job of engaging the community. I had a young man say to me the other day, he walked up to me, he's about 18 years old, and he says to me, he says, I'm in my uniform, I'm in my squad car, and I'm dropping off some papers at a location. So this young man, he walks up and he comments to me. He says, every time I see you around here, you act like you at home. I said, and I looked at him and I responded to him, that's because I am at home. So then he says to me, that's what I like about you. And that said a lot to me coming from that young man who happened to be 18 years old, um, hanging out with the rest of his friends. There was a respect there that I didn't realize until he made that statement to me. And he acknowledged to me that he was comfortable being around me as a law enforcement officer. These are some of the things that we have to get back to making the community feel like we are part of the community. Right now, people see us in the community, they perceive us as an occupying force. We should not be perceived as an occupying force. We should be perceived as gatekeepers of the community, not overseers of the community. It's been going on too long. There's a serious lack of trust there. You got hardworking people that leave out every day to go to work, to come home. Some of them are not fortunate and they're struggling and they're just getting by, you know. Um, but they have a discomfort zone about us. They have to deal with the lawbreakers and then they have to deal with law enforcement. They're stuck in the middle. And here's another misconception. Some people think, not all people, but some people think that people don't cooperate with law enforcement for fear of reprisal. That's not always the case. Some people don't cooperate with law enforcement because they have a disdain for law enforcement for whatever reason that they have. But that's what they have. We need to get back to understanding the communities that we work in. We need to get out of cars. We need to engage these people in the community. Let them know that we're part of the community and the community is part of us. A couple of years ago, I was working up Park Heights, Quantico Avenue. It was about 12 o'clock at night. I'll never forget. And I'm with this officer, and there are a bunch of kids. It's 12 o'clock at night, 90 plus degrees outside. And it's a bunch of people out. If you know anything about Quantico Avenue looks like a war zone. The street lights are out. The buildings are dilapidated. The house that you live next door to may only have a wall and no roof, and so on. Right? Well, anyway, me and this officer, we're out on Quantico Avenue, and it's all kinds of people out there. The kids are ripping and running between us, right? And all of a sudden, the officer looks down as the kids are running by, and he says out loud, he says, no wonder these kids out here getting killed this time of night out here. Their parents must not care about them. So all of a sudden, everybody on the block, it had to be about maybe 20 or so people out there, right? All of a sudden it got quiet because they heard this officer's statement. So then I said to everybody, I said, look across the street and tell me, I see two things that stand out. Can anybody tell me what I just saw? And you could see about 30 houses as far as your eyes could see. So people looked and they started saying things like missing roofs, porches the same color. Some houses don't have no porches, and so on and so on. Well, what I alluded to was, I said, if you look, you'll notice that only 2 houses out of about 30 houses have air conditioning. I said, if you know anything about Baltimore City and you know anything about these houses, these row houses in Baltimore City, you know that they are like the ocean. In the morning, they're nice and cool. But when that sun hits it during the course of the day, by the time 12 o'clock at night comes around, it is unbearable. That ocean water that was cold in the morning is now warm at night. Well, it's the same thing with these row houses. When that sun has been hitting that tar all day long, 90 plus degrees, right? By the time 12 o'clock at night comes, this row house is unbearable. So what you have is, you have mom, you have grandma in the house, and little Day-Day in the house, right? Little Day-Day has an asthmatic problem. And see, so grandma got to make up her mind, either I'm going to let little Day-Day come outside now at 12 o'clock at night and sit on these steps, or I'm going to find myself over at Sinai Hospital because he done had an asthma attack. Well, guess what? The same problem little Day-Day got, little Ray got up the street. The same problem little Ray got, guess what? Ray grandmother got a respiratory problem, and she has to come out. So now you got, and then you got Uncle Johnny. He can't sleep because it's too unbearable too. So what do Uncle Johnny do? Him and Granddad, they get together. They on the porch. They sitting up there playing cards, drinking their little beer on the side that they don't think we can see, right? These little kids posted up against the boarded up house right here. They posted up because guess what? They don't want to be sitting up there with Uncle Johnny. They don't want to hear Grandma and Mom getting on their nerves, and they don't want to be in the way of little Day-Day and them running up and down the street. So everything that you necessarily see is not the same situation. Situations are different depending on what's going on. What I described to you is just one aspect of what goes on in a city like Baltimore in the middle of the summer with people who don't have air conditions. A lot of folks don't even understand that, guess what? Those row home steps, that is a representation of a deck in Howard County. That's also a representation of an air conditioning unit in Howard County, right? That's all they have. So hence is why you see all these people out at 1 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes you got to understand what the circumstance is that you're dealing with people in the community. These kids ain't running up and down the street because don't nobody care about them. They out there like that because they can't sleep inside the house. They don't have the luxuries that I have at home with centralized air conditioning. These are the things that we need to understand about our communities. We need to get back to understanding the community. You need to get out of that car. You need to say hi to these youngins on these corners. Talk to them, see what's up. And guess what? Some of them going to walk away. Some of them going to run because they just don't trust you. They don't trust none of us, at times. But there are going to be other times when they'll come back. That trust is going to take some time to redevelop. But we're about to spend millions of dollars on a consent decree. And you know what? If we don't change attitudes, our attitude, their attitudes, they have to change too. This works both ways. It's not a one-way system, but it works both ways. But we have to change. I love Baltimore City. I love the people in Baltimore City. I love my community. And I'm going to do everything that I can to make my community a better community. And we need to become gatekeepers of the communities and stop appearing to be overseers of the community. We need to start treating Baltimore like it's Mayberry, not like it's Iraq. I want to thank you guys for letting me share my thoughts with you. Have a good day and enjoy. And of course, you can tell me, what are your thoughts? Have a good one.